Hey everybody, Andy here. Let's talk about episode 4 of the new X-Files miniseries called Home Again. Now, the episode starts off with a man on a cell phone and he's pretty much just saying that you need to be relocated. They're doing a relocation process for homeless people, needy people, people that are living on the streets. They are this guy's pretty much probably hired by the government to just come in and state that they're going to be moved, they're taking people out, and everyone, he puts up notices and whatever, and that's his job. But he's doing it being a complete asshole. He then shows him go back to an office. He is in this office talking on a cell phone again. And then it cuts to a scene where it shows a garbage truck pull up. A man gets out of the garbage truck and walks in. Now, it seems like all the homeless people know about this, or they know something weird's going on, because as soon as they sense that this guy is coming, they dive into alleys in their tents and they're wherever they could hide. Everyone disappears. The street's quiet. The guy that's talking on his phone, asshole man, then knows that there's someone outside the door. He knows something weird's going on. He knows someone's in his office and shouldn't be there. He then calls the police, gets a gun out. You can see the man's silhouette on the window of his office, and he's still holding the gun out, saying he's going to shoot him. Says he's still on the phone with the police, and the figure walks in and quickly just grabs the man by the arms and rips his arms off. Quietly walks out, throws the man's arms into the back of the garbage truck, gets into the back of the garbage truck itself, and then it crushes both of them in there. And then, you get your X-Files opening scene, opening sequence. Now, Mulder and Scully go to the scene of the crime. It's the next day or the morning. And they start to investigate, and Scully gets a phone call, and it's her brother. And her brother says that their mother has had a heart attack. So Scully leaves to go see her mother in the hospital. When Scully gets there, the nurse says that her mother woke up for a little bit and was asking for Charlie. Charlie is Scully's brother, estranged brother. They haven't talked. Charlie hasn't talked to anybody in the family apparently in years. Now back at the crime scene, Mulder is investigating their surveillance cameras, and he noticed that there's no graffiti on a wall outside, but now in the morning that there is a graffiti on the wall outside, and it looks oddly like the man from the opening scene. This eerie white figure that's not wearing any shoes. And they did notice also at the scene that there's footprints there, footprints in blood, and the footprints have no normal prints, no like foot, whatever you'd call it, like your fingerprints. So it's very odd, very strange. On the way out, Mulder finds that there's something stuck on the bottom of his foot. He finds a Band-Aid and he peels it off, and he eventually gets it tested at the FBI headquarters. We'll come back to that in a minute. He then goes outside and he sees two people arguing. One is another government official that's trying to kick people out again and still of the area so they can degentrify it. I think that's the word. Where they try to get rid of homeless people from an area so they can build it up and make it more, I don't know what you'd call it, more nice. I don't know. So that's what this guy is doing. That's what the guy at the beginning was doing too. That got killed. There's a woman arguing who's kind of a representative for the area, I guess, and she kind of just doesn't like the guy and whatever. So Mulder comes up and starts talking to them, and then there's a homeless man next to him or nearby, and he says something like Band-Aid nose man, and Mulder goes and tries to talk to him, but he doesn't say anything else. He just walks away. So Mulder assumes that's the name of the artist that made the graffiti outside. Mulder then looks up, and the graffiti's gone. It then cuts to Scully back at the hospital. She talks to her brother. Her brother's on his way. But then the nurse or doctor comes up and says that Mrs. Scully, Mrs. Scully, Dana's mother, had amended her living will last year, and she doesn't want to be resuscitated. She doesn't want to have machines helping her breathe. So she's pretty much, they're going to pull the plug on her soon. Then we go to a scene where it shows two guys moving a cart around in an apartment building, and they take a sheet off something, and it's that graffiti that was outside on that building. It's a big painting of that ominous figure that has no shoes and is bald. Maybe the Band-Aid Nose Man. And they are now moving it around the apartment, and they're making comments like they're going to make a lot of money, and this is their territory and stuff like that. All of a sudden, it cuts back to the other guy that went to go do something on the computer. He comes back, and he notices the other guy is missing. He walks around the corner, and the guy has a bag over his head, and he was being killed. You quickly find out that it's the ominous, no-faced white man that has no fingerprints. He comes out, the other guy runs away, and he seems to have like superpowers, or he can teleport, or pretty much do whatever he wants, because all of a sudden he's on the other side of the room. He grabs the guy, and he rips him in half by his head and his arm. It's pretty gruesome. And then it shows him pulling the two corpses out to his garbage truck, and then it pans back to the painting, and on the bottom of the painting it says Trash Man. So I guess he's Trash Man. Now it shows Mulder and Scully at the hospital with Dana's mother again, and they're talking, and kind of she wants to know obviously more about her mother and some of the little questions, and why she has this quarter around her neck that has no significant date, and why she asked for Charlie and not for her or her brother, her other brother William. And she just wants to know these little questions. But then they cut to the doctors pulling out the breathing apparatus from her mouth and all that other stuff, and then they cut away. So you don't really know if she's dead yet or not, but you're assuming that she's going to be very soon or is already. And then it shows that one woman who was arguing with the government official that was helping with the degentrification, the one that's supposedly sticking up for the homeless people. But you kind of get a feeling that she's kind of phony. It shows her pulls up to her house. She's got a really nice car. She lives in this giant house. She goes in. She starts making herself a nice cup of coffee with her fancy espresso machine. She has a little garbage compactor thing in her house, and she's got all these nice things. So she has plenty of money, and she's a phony. And it shows a garbage truck pull up, and it's kind of cool because you see a lot more of this man now. You can tell he's got this like rotten face, and he's got a Band-Aid on under his nose. And where he steps, he was leaving puddles of like green goo and like grubs or maggots or something like that. It was kind of really gross. And he's kind of like leaking fluids, so it's really nasty. And he can pretty much move wherever he wants. Shows that he's like up on top of the stairs. He comes down to start chase her, and all of a sudden he's in front of her. She punches him in the face, actually, runs away. Tries to get out the back door, and then she looks up before she opens the door, and he's standing on the other side of the glass outside. And then it cuts to her being dead, and he's throwing her head in that garbage compactor, and then taking the rest of her body to his garbage truck. And that's how that ends. I don't know, this guy's kind of creepy and weird, but I kind of like him. It's just the way he's very ominous and seems to be cleaning up the streets, in quotes, because I'm sure that's what they're alluding to. And I kind of like it. Now it cuts back to Dana and Mulder in the hospital with Dana's mother, and she has nothing plugged in anymore, no more breathing machine, no anything, and they're sitting around hoping that she'll wake up and say something. Then Then Dana's brother calls Charlie, the one she was asking for in the beginning of the episode. He starts talking to her over the phone on speakerphone, and she wakes up. She then grabs Mulder's hand, smiles, and says, "My son's name is William too." And then she dies. Now, after her mother dies, Scully has a little breakdown and decides she really needs to go to work. And I know some people do this. I actually knew someone that after their grandson died, they were at work the very next day. People just need somehow to keep their normal life, to keep themselves going, know that there's something else, that there's meaning, help them forget, things like that. So it makes sense why Scully would want to go back to work, so that's not really that weird. Then it kind of quickly shows them back at a lab. They find out that there's some sort of paint, special spray paint that's been used for the graffiti around town. It's only sold at one place in Philadelphia. And then it quickly shows them following somebody that buys some paint out of the store, and they follows them to some abandoned building somewhere. He starts bringing him down the building because they pretty much they capture him and they convince him to bring him to the trash man. Halfway down the stairs, he gets away and runs away. They don't chase him. Mulder makes a comment saying that he doesn't do stairs anymore because he's too old. And then Scully says something like, "I used to do stairs in 3-inch heels," which is true. She always wore those heels in her pantsuits back in the day. Funny outfits when you watch those old episodes. But then this is where you get the iconic scene you saw in a lot of the previews. I've seen it in a couple of Vine videos and stuff like that, where they pull out their flashlights. They go down the stairs. It's very dark. They have the flashlights cross into X, and it's a very cool scene. And then it shows them sweeping their flashlights back and forth in the darkness, and it's a very, very, very cool scene. And it really brought you back because they used to do that, not the crossing of the flashlights to make an X, but you get lots of flashlights and them being very careful and sneaking around in dark places. So it was pretty nostalgic. It was pretty cool. Now they're walking around in this dark, basement with all these passages and doors, and they see something, so they start following it. It's walking away slowly, and all of a sudden it disappears. Now there's all these quick cut scenes, and there's things popping out and things rolling around, and it's very creepy and weird, and they're like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" And they finally come to the end where they're following this thing, and they know it's back in this room. They knock on the door and they say, "We're here to help," and he says, "I need help, but go away." And so they kick the door down. They go in there, and there's all these plaster faces of they kind of look like the trash man with band-aids under their nose, and it's all this spray paint and art. It kind of looks like in an old looks like an art room, an old like in your high school or something like that. It's all this weird stuff around. Then they find this man in the corner who says, "Put away the guns. You can't shoot it. I've tried." And then he's telling them to turn down the light. And then he also says, "If I can't see them and they can't see me, it won't hurt me." Or something along that sense. Pretty much saying if you can't see it or it can't see you, either way you can't be hurt by it. Alright, so at this point we'll say there's spoilers. So if you don't want the end of this episode ruined, go ahead and cut to the last 30 seconds of this video. They start talking to this guy. Now, this guy basically is an artist. He creates things. He pretty much says he made the Band-Aid nose man, the trash man, out of clay. And he made it with such will and such creativity and power that it became its own thing. It became real. And out in the hallways, he says there was other things out there that he created that he put so much effort and so much life into that they actually became real things. Now, he said those things are starting to lose their life and they're going to go away. But he said the Band-Aid Knows Man is different. He has a life and a mind of his own. Now, they know the Band-Aid Knows Man is going to go kill that last government official, that last guy that was helping with the relocation. So they leave. They bring the artist with them. They show up at this building and he's pretty much dead. Only thing that's left is his dead body, of course, and a Band-Aid on the ground. It goes back to that building where the artist is living, and he has changed his clay Band-Aid Nose Man that was on the wall, and he changed into a happy smiley face, and then it shows him running away, and there's that graffiti on the wall from the beginning is right on the building next door. Now the episode ends with Mulder and Scully sitting on a beach, and Scully saying that she knows why she asked for Charlie, and she knows how her mother feels, and that she pretty much hopes that she can figure out all the answers to what she wants before she dies, unlike her mother. So that's basically episode 4 of the X-Files miniseries, Home Again. It was a good episode. I did like it. I really liked interaction with Scully had with Mulder while in the hospital, showing how the emotions of Dana, like dealing with her mother inevitable death. It's always good to see character development like that. And I like the ending and showing how Mulder and Scully do feel for each other, do comfort each other. They do, have a life together now, and they're really trying to nail that into your heads, because the first 9 seasons you really didn't see any interaction like that between Mulder and Scully, and now they're trying to catch that up. That was my review of episode 4. Did you like Band-Aid Nose Man? I think it was pretty cool, but maybe needed a little more of him. I think he was just kind of a placeholder for a side story while they developed Mulder and Scully's relationship a little more. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Again, my name is Andy, and I will check you later.